Not bad.
Let's like I I I have a books movie story from this past weekend where I uh, I rewatched the movie A Man Called Otto.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. Are we recording?
Yes, yes, and so it like I watched that on a plane, and the first time, and they say when you're on a plane, like you cry more about movies or whatever because of the altitude and the pressure and the idea that no one is watching you or something. But holy shit, like I that movie just destroys me.
You bald?
Like my children saw me. I was blowing my nose a lot.
Were you weeping out loud, meaning going,
No,
or
no.
just weeping quietly?
No, but also like I have sort of a stuffy nose, so like even when I'm not watching sad stuff, I also kind of blow my nose a lot lately. So it's
Who knew?
so it was like, yeah, is daddy? But then they would like look at me and like see my eyes and be like, yeah. So have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't, and I can't remember why, because I remember wanting to, and I'm not, and I don't. I know what it was. After I saw Elvis with Tom Hanks, I went sour on Tom Hanks.
No, but this,
and I thought that he had gotten pretentious. And I said out loud on air, I remember saying, if they wanted somebody who looked like that, why didn't they hire an actor who looked like that? Why? What did he bring to the role that prosthetic wise?
No, that
compare that to the Penguin, where what he brings, what the actor brings to the role is so extraordinary that, yeah, it is worth the effort. And this is a comic book
right,
guy who is rendered human, with people calling him the Penguin to make fun of him because he had a club foot.
Right.
And the club foot was so short that he walked like a penguin walks. Right. Plus, I've only seen this image a couple of times in all the series, is that he has a scar that runs from his eye over his cheek through his nose. And that, in a certain angle, that scar sharpens his nose like a beak.
Sure.
I've only seen it a couple of times, but when I saw it, I thought, oh my God.
They thought about that.
It's so different than every other presentation of the Penguin. Danny DeVito's Penguin was a fish-eating, round, rotund, grotesque, little fat man.
Right. That's the only one I know.
As opposed, let's see who the other one was. Burgess Meredith was the Penguin on the Batman television series. You don't remember Burgess Meredith. You don't remember the series, I imagine. That was Adams was his name, the actor. It was really cheesy. But he was a businessman dressed in a tux with a long cigarette holder,
which is how you get to Penguin.
Walk funny.
Yep.
So this
anyone in a tux that walks in a weird way, you could be like Penguin, right?
Yeah.
So
in one sense, now that I say this Penguin is returning to the Burgess Meredith roots of he's a human,
right,
with characteristics that explain why he's called the Penguin, and his name is Oswald Cobb.
Why not? Sure.
And they call him Ozzy. Everyone calls him Ozzy. Got to kill Ozzy.
Okay.
the only time anybody refers to him as a penguin is when they're trying to make fun of him. Anyway, that's all by way of kind of topic of costume and what's real and,
Yeah. So
what looks normal.
I haven't read the books. I haven't read the book or seen the Swedish series, but the presentation of A Man Called Otto in the Tom Hanks version is just so, like, it's been so long since I've witnessed storytelling that made me care so much about a character in 2 hours. Like, a character, all the characters, like, there are so many series and movies and stuff where you're just like, I don't really like any of these assholes. But like, I mean, the old man really is kind of, which we will get to, but they're all kind of jerks. But the way that they built this world in A Man Called Otto, like, I loved all the people, and it's, that's just that sensation when you're nearing the end of a book and you're like, I don't want to finish this book because I know, like, there's an end, and this world is going to collapse, and I'm not going to know this world anymore. But also, I kind of want to know what happens. Like, it's that level of caring about these fictional, made up people, but, like, that's the way our minds are. Like, we can love these totally made up people in a way that it's hard even to love the people that we know that exist. So it's, like, kind of wild. That's my thesis. Thank you for joining my doctorate talk. I look forward to your review.
It's great that AI can transcribe all this into a truly professional-looking report.
Yes,
So it reminds me of something I want to ask you again. Is it true that you don't have the latest version of AI drawing and graphic capability that you said you had rather rudimentary apps for that work? Am I remembering this correctly?
Well, it depends on what you mean by the latest. And
not latest. I mean, that effectively produces really good stuff.
I mean, I can ask an AI to make an image of, like, I don't understand the question really. Like, am I don't work for Open AI, so I don't have access to the private models, but the ones that they have released, I can use. Like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, now that you say that, I remember the images you created some time ago. Yeah. Those were good.
And that was some time ago. So now they're probably even better. Like, so if I made an image of two dudes podcasting,
right,
one with guitars on the wall behind him and the other with a white hat on, like, we could probably come up with something, but, like, we'll see.
Well, reason I ask is because the Mojo Riot.
Oh, you need swag.
4 skeletons with musical, image.
4 skeletons with
four skeletons
playing
instruments. Middle one drummer, 2 guitar guys, bass guy, and then me with a I think you can see the harmonica in my hand or blowing it or whatever, but it's just skeleton heads. But it's very rudimentary, and they're wanting to record some tunes. They want a banner that when we go, we can put it up so people know who we are, etc. And I said, well, we got to hold off on that until I get a better version. Can I send you the version and you play with it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I will charge you my usual rate, which
we had a pretty good gig. We had a great time playing with each other. We laughed out loud. The recordings of the night, one of them is one of my favorites because me and Justin were playing and something happened musically. I think it was a word I missed the opening of a lyric, and he picked it up immediately and did it for me. And we both ended up laughing out loud, and that's recorded with the song, and that's great. And that kind of is a good illustration of how much fun we had. And he said, I think this is the first time we've really played like a band in terms of communication and kind of responding to each other. So that's fun. We got another gig in a week. We just got Desire by U2 on, Maggie May, Rod Stewart, I Put a Spell on You, Jeff Beck.
Nice.
Doing Screaming Jay Hawkins. And did you see, what was that Samuel Jackson, Quentin Tarantino movie, Pulp Fiction, where the boxer, Bruce Willis, ends up stealing a motorcycle and this crazy
Zed's
stuff.
dead, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Well, during
I know that whole movie.
During one of those moments, the Statler brothers are singing. Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo.
Yep.
I got nothing to do. So we're doing that.
Nice.
But we're doing it jazzed up from this guitarist named Eric Healy, I think his name is, who does a great version of it. And we picked it up and practiced a few times, and it sounds really fun.
Nice.
I do the backup vocals. But it's so and we just did recorded and improved on REM. This one goes out to the one I love.
Yes. Okay.
Which is so much fun to sing.
Yes, it must be.
And it's really interesting, the music that we picked and played, because we like it a lot. But the question is always, well, so what? We're trying to play stuff that's recognizable. Right?
Yeah, but what is your end goal? Are you trying to sell records and become?
Of course not. We're trying to entertain people. We want people to enjoy themselves with us as we play.
Okay, so if it's a song that only entertains you guys eternally, then that's a failure. You want to,
but here's the question:
entertain others.
You don't really know that until you play it.
Of course not.
Live.
Yeah, of course.
And so what happens is that you learn a song over 3 weeks of practice so that you're ready to play it, and you play it, and it has the absolute bottom line, number one essential element of playing a song live, a cover song live, is that the band has to enjoy doing it.
Indeed.
It's kind of independent from everything else, but if that doesn't happen, it just
right. If the band is just like dum 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 dum.
So that's what we're doing, and so with that energy level and that enjoyment, and the song I'm thinking of is Amos Moses by Jerry Reed, who I think I've asked you to cue up in the notes at some point. because it's this great Louisiana Cajun song about a guy who raised his family in the swamps.
Reed Amos. Yep. No. I've definitely put that in the show
Amos
notes.
Moses.
Yes.
Amos Moses.
Moses Reed.
Jerry Reed. But that's the song we do at practice not too long ago. We played it for 18 minutes.
Fuck yeah.
Now, not about to do that live.
Well, I mean, sometimes the 18-minute song grooves live.
I've been in bands that are doing 6-7 minute jams, and as long as we're enjoying it, it seems like people are listening and enjoying it. But this band would not. They believe that exceeds what would be a professional standard, which to me is like, I don't know, man. I'm not a professional musician. I just play harmonica and sing.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Whatever, man.
Anyway, it's been fun. But when we get the recording going, we can post it.
So.
But we're recording it after this next gig.
This is our last episode before the election.
What election?
Of 2024.
Where?
In the U.S. of A. It's for all the governorships and stuff. But
Trump and Hillary Clinton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those. But I'd rather go to the entertainment desk and talk about the old man first.
Well, one comment.
Which is to say,
plant the seed. Plant the seed.
Is it?
I just
are politics the old man, or is entertainment the old man? We'll see.
Just a quick story.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, of course,
the old man,
does the thing,
yeah,
and is eager to campaign, which he did a little bit with Jill in Pittsburgh, where his base.
I haven't seen anything about him the past week.
And then he said, "So I'm ready." He appeared with Kamala at an event and said, "I'm ready to campaign," and the campaign said, "We'll get back with you." And they kept doing it. They didn't schedule him to do anything. Well, he got fed up with it. And he announced the White House decided to post a response about what happened in New York at the rally at the Madison
which we will get to later.
The Trump appointee, or the Trump friend, comedian, told the joke that, "Oh man, did you hear the news? There's a big island of garbage floating in the ocean." Oh yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. And Trump never repudiated it. Well, Biden took it on himself to go on the air and in a moment went off script, stopped reading the teleprompter,
OMG,
and instead said,
"Well, I believe
the only human garbage is our Trump's supporter." But the way he said it are his supporters. Supporters, the way it was spun by the White House afterwards, was supporters, SUPPORTOR', meaning one supporter, meaning the comedian. It's the supporters garbage, meaning one guy, but it's very confusing.
Whoa.
But the way that it was spoken, it was Trump supporters.
Yeah.
But because it was off script and they didn't have a professional writing team behind it, it was really stupidly said. That meant that the night that Harris was at the Ellipse giving her speech to 60,000 people, the largest crowd to date, televised internationally.
Crazy.
The news started to creep in about Biden calling those people supporters, and Trump's quote was, "You can't lead America if you don't love America."
Right. which
and then appeared at a rally dressed in a garbage man's
right,
flash
and
vest.
saying that America is garbage.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but like every day, I wake up and I watch the on YouTube the late night hosts Seth Meyers and Colbert and the Daily Show all have their takes on the crazy shit that happened yesterday, and every day I'm just like, wow, but like it's just like the reason like it's so frustrating that he is so fucking entertaining that we can't stop talking about him. It's like I've said this 1,000 times, but like it's just he says the dumbest shit that the people paying attention feel the need to report on, which means that his dumbest shit is reported everywhere, such that like I don't know how you could reproduce this. Like if you had a guy that was just like, oh yeah, man, like the aliens are I've been talking to the aliens and they're coming, to take over the planet, and like I feel like the news media would not pay as much attention to that nonsense as whatever Trump is spewing, and it's just like bizarre.
Yeah, it's
like I don't get
his success in capturing the media understanding is something that is kind of true but has its limits, is that all publicity is good publicity. I don't know that's necessarily the case when you get 34 felony convictions, but he used that to raise hundreds of millions of dollars, and so no publicity is bad publicity. But his ability to capture that is unparalleled in United States history.
Yes. And or world history probably, but like,
well, I don't know about that. I'd have to dig in deep to Mussolini and into Hitler.
But it's crazy that like if I tried to come up with bullshit that one could say, I feel like I wouldn't nail the line that he like. I really can't call him a genius, but he has a sense. He has an internal sense of what.
He's a showman.
Yes, and he knows where the line is and where to push the line.
He's a circus
right,
man.
Yes.
He's a Barnable. He's a come-oner. And the image of him in his sad but incredibly genius, this is genius, is when he was shot and bleeding. He had the wherewithal to break through the cadre of Secret Service, the three people who were guarding him, break through above it with a raised fist, which ends up being for all time. For all time. It will be one of the iconic images of Trump.
Yes.
Particularly if he is, as he could be, successful.
Even if he isn't, that image will go down in history. So one thing that I don't hear anyone talking about is the likelihood that if he doesn't win, that he will go to prison? Like, he's got all these charges on him, and it seems to me that his only get out of jail free card is winning this election, which is why he will literally stop at nothing to complain. Like
another reason he'd stop at nothing. I believe that independent of that, he'd stop at nothing. But
yes.
I agree.
Independently, he would stop at nothing. But the fact that if he loses and the authorities agree that he has lost, that he will go to prison is like, that's never been a thing with an election before.
He won't go to prison.
Of course he won't, but
he'd get home confinement.
But
he's a first offender. No, seriously.
Well, first of 35 accounts.
They know where he is. I mean, the punitive aspects of it would more likely be monetary, but he'd probably plead broke. But so Kamala was here with Michelle Obama right up the street. My wife took a day and went.
Nice.
And stood in line and got on a bus and got out and stood in line and ended up in the auditorium with a pretty damn good view of the stage. There's a bug. And got some good pictures. And I got to watch it live on TV while she was there.
Nice.
There's a lot of clips of it. Michelle Obama was stunning. It was her first rally with her, although I suspect I think the one in Detroit was the next day. Maybe it was that day. I don't know. But anyway, so that was way cool. She came back all energized and feeling good.
So what is that experience like? Like, I watch the rallies and I wonder, like, doesn't it take like 6 hours out of your day to attend that?
She started at 10:30.
Yeah.
To go to Sears to park her car to get on a bus.
Right.
That took her to the site so she could get in line.
Yeah.
Produce her credentials, go through a machine, and then get in line to get in.
Yeah.
Understanding that she was general admission and there were an awful lot of people in the center seats, volunteers, etc., who got the best seats. And she was a perimeter set CT and had her choice. And instead of being behind the stage where she initially had ended up, she went off to the side of the stage. So she had a pretty good view. Also, of when they left the stage, they went kind of beneath her.
Right.
And so she's got some great kind of action shots, and
but
and then the process is reversed. Long lines to get out. No stopping at that point. But then you got to wait to get on a bus. There were over 20,000 people there. There was no parking on site.
Right. So
10:30, she got home somewhere around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it was about 6 hours. 7 even. 7. Yeah, 6 or 7. And she did it even though her legs hurt badly. She had no doubt that it was well worth it. She had the time of her life. And it was just, they gave everybody a little watch band that went different colors. And so there was all this shit going on with waves and people with their wristbands and all the lights, and there was music, and they waited at one point after a few speakers, local politicians talked. There was an hour where no one spoke. And she said, I wonder if somebody didn't show up. And I said, that's doubtful. It very well could be that she was late, and so there was no plan and nobody to plug in. And I don't know, that would have been frustrating for me is to hear people talk and think that it's going to happen and then not know. Then somebody didn't come out and say, "Oh, okay, relax. It's going to be an hour." So you say, "Oh, okay, it'll be an hour. Sit down." And
Yeah.
I don't know, but no, you're waiting.
Yeah, that would have annoyed the shit out of me too. You'd think you could have like an improv comedian come out there that wasn't totally racist.
Oh yeah, you could do jokes about Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
So what do you know about Puerto Rico? It's a commonwealth, not a state. They can't vote.
They can vote.
How? How does that work?
They can vote for. Don't quote me on this. I think they can vote for president, but not. They don't have like a Congress person, much like DC, like Washington DC.
So there's a delegate involved.
DC doesn't.
If there's no delegate, then it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If there's no delegate to the electoral college, then it doesn't matter.
Okay. Correct. We will leave this up to the listener as an exercise.
We got to have at least a couple Puerto Ricans listening.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, Bruss.
Yes. All the Puerto Ricanos. Yes. So
Trump says the other day, he says, before I got up to talk tonight, I spoke to some people and they said, sir, we don't want you to say you're the protector of women. And I said to them, but I am. And they said, no, but please don't say it. And he said, and I asked them why not. And they said, oh, it's not appropriate. And I said, you know what? It's appropriate. I am the protector of women. Whether they want it or whether they like it or not, I'm their protector. I will protect them from migrants who will rape them and kill them. I protect them from our foreign adversaries. I will protect them from the lunatic, fringe, communist, leftists who, under Kamala Harris and Sleepy Joe, Crooked Joe Biden. And so, yes, I am a supporter of women. And for the world, it makes it worse for him. For his base, they go crazy. Here's what I'm counting on. His base is his base. It's not any bigger.
Yeah.
It's not any bigger. What it gets down to, in most analyses that I've seen on air, is who's going to win Pennsylvania.
It's so fucking stupid that this thing comes down to.
So check this.
God.
Hillary Clinton won 9 million more votes, 10 million more votes than the popular vote. Sure. 10 million.
I
did not count. There are 36 states where neither campaign has ever set foot. 36.
Right. Like, it's like, what are you even... Like...
They're taken for granted. The delegates are counted. They always show up red or always show up blue. That's a given. They won't change, and the pundits are right, and so it doesn't matter. The only place it matters is where there's a swing, a potential. And then the Electoral College is insane. Winner take all. 50.1% of the people, a state with 9 million people, 4.5 million go for one candidate, 4.5 million and one go to the other. The one with the one extra vote gets all the delegates.
This is
the 4.5 million don't matter.
This is the first election where I am voting in a swing state that I remember. Like, North Carolina has never been a swing state.
North Carolina actually was a swing state when your two senators were voted in.
Yeah, but for
that was Georgia. That was Georgia.
Yeah.
That was Georgia. I'm sorry.
So, like...
Biden won North Carolina, did he? I thought he did.
I don't.
Squeaked
God,
it.
I feel like not, but maybe so. But like it, I've. It's never been named as a swing state. There's always like, oh, Wisconsin, Florida, Pennsylvania. Like,
And then Georgia, North Carolina.
the electoral college is so
are in
fucking. I
play.
hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah. So let's. Can we talk about the old man?
Yeah.
Not to refer to.
Yeah, I was a bit hesitant going into it. I remember saying the kind of basis of the story's tugging at me, and how was it that I understand the backstory of her getting kind of kidnapped by her mother, and how all that happened.
So remember, after the first season, we had a lively debate that maybe future me will link to, where you were certain that you understood that the old man was the
Hazam.
Yeah, Hazam.
Her dad. Her real dad.
And that had slipped my mind the whole time because I was watching the old American Men. But that this season was very interesting. Like it changed.
It changed who the old man was.
Well, yes.
It's both. John Lithgow's character refers to him after his death as the old man.
Right.
And it is the second time in 2 years that what's Lithgow's character's name, for God's sake? I hate not knowing that, not remembering that. Spencer?
Something like that. I can look it up.
That he is the one who delivered the line referring to an old man as the old man. And I thought going into it that the old man was Dan Chase.
Right.
But as it turns out, it's fascinating how they're playing.
John Lithgow's character is Harold Harper.
Harold
Harper.
And so the other thing that happened was that Angela,
Yes.
Parwana,
Yes.
came into her own in
Emily.
a way. Yes, came into her own in a way that was unexpected, but when it happened, it was strong.
Yes.
And it made all the sense in the world from the standpoint of what happened with her emotionally in the context of her true family.
Right.
And and of course the dialogue between Harold and Chase was a lot, from Chase particularly, was she's changed, she's a different person now, she's been affected. It isn't Angela or Emily anymore. When he said at the dining table in the diner,
Yes.
and Parwana Hassam, Hazam, Parwana Hassam gets what she wants.
So,
and
I for one was like, I've watched enough television to know that, we're on the phone call with her and there's a bunch of gunshots and everyone assumes that she's dead.
And she's dead.
Like,
no, she's
like, yes, if we weren't watching a television show,
she'd be
dead. But the fact that we're watching a television show and we haven't seen a body yet means that duh, she's alive.
And
Like that was
they aren't killing off a central character. This is
it's
Game
like
of Thrones.
that's some I want to say that's like some weak writing, because we know as viewers that that's a stupid ploy, and to have all the characters believe that, oh, that means that she died, is just like, come on, like how many shows have we seen? So
It was just, and it was a matter of when and how. But I thought the return was image-wise very, very stark.
oh yes,
As she appeared in the smoke
yes,
of the
that was well done.
And the premonition of that, the precursor, the plantation of the seed, the expectation, was when she knew she had to kill one of the fighters, and she did it without any hesitation.
Right.
She went over to him with a pistol and she shot him. And she walked away. And you thought, whoa, had no idea at that point. Could she had right. So now
you realize that she is capable of doing more than just what the timid FBI agent would be able to do. Well,
and standing up to her father, her surrogate father, her adoptive father, Dan Chase, when he argued and said, I will help you, but it doesn't have to be this way. There's other things. And she said,
no,
I don't care what you think about the other ways. We're doing it this way. This way will work. And he sat back exasperated and then said, Imperawana Hazam gets what she wants. And she said, yeah, pretty much. But one thing I wanted to point out, I want to hear some more from you, is that when he was drugged and he was forced to sit with the Russian who was going to undoubtedly kill him, murder him, and under the drug convinced him not to, that restrained performance of having to be physically and verbally coming into grips with a drug that was going to slowly but surely slow you and kill you was extraordinary. Some of the best I've ever seen him do. I mean, and I've seen a lot of his shit, and it's good.
That's basically what I'm doing every week with you. Where I'm drugged up to the gills.
You actually are providing
and
the characteristics now.
And I'm trying to respond coherently in a way that.
Right. Yeah. Well,
but
I know you've never been able to complete sentences very well, but tonight it's exceptionally poor. So yes.
Yes, I complete sentences good. I thought that I'm curious about the premise of this. Is not a thing that I've seen referred to before, of this the idea that there will be a special metallic mine that, like, we really need these
lithium,
these particular metals and stuff for our technology. Like, maybe that was a thing in 24 before, but the idea that there are these mines that are crucial to technological development in the future. Like I hadn't seen that premise before, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I
And
I believe it.
the introduction of Harold's wife, his divorced wife,
What
as the Chinese
I didn't really get
Chinese
that.
born. What's
I
that?
didn't really get that plot, nor did I get the guy that showed up to talk to Zoe about like, oh, I'm the man you need to talk to get all your stuff organized. Like those characters were like, what?
Well, she was on the phone with him throughout the entire uh, voyage to save Emily, aka Angela, at that time.
Okay, sure.
And was the one who had access to the helicopters, the one who was pulling all the strings internationally. And you recall when he was in the desert, in the mountains
Correct.
anyway,
Yes.
and said, "What do you want from me?" And she said, "I want dinner." And he's basically said, "You're full of shit, and this is what I need. I'll give you what you want."
Right.
And now he's imprisoned by her. But that character was, I thought, very well developed, very well presented.
Yes.
And just frightening, cold-blooded.
She was terrifying.
Powerful. Yes. Along with Boat, who's now dead, is another, he was introduced, Joel Grey, who I didn't realize till the second season it was Joel Grey from, the singing, dancing Joel Grey from Cabaret with Lisa Minnelli. I don't know if you're familiar with that role of his, but it's iconic. And his unexpected death were two introductions of characters that were unexpected and really pushed me past my misgiving of, so the part that I don't really get is that I know she was a child and probably very bright and precocious. How was she guided or went into being an FBI trainee? And that was something that Dan Chase apparently did.
Right.
Am I right? But why would he do that with the daughter of this?
So, but he was in love with her mother, right? They were like a couple.
She raised her with him until she died.
Right. And
she died an old woman. Did manipulate this? I bet you she did.
She comes off pretty cold and like sadistic in this.
Well, as a way to make sure that her daughter's life would never be in danger, that's probably what happened. But that wasn't explained. I don't know that I have to guess about such an important element of the plot. It should be a little bit
more obvious. And that could be like a total spin-off, like a prequel. Yeah, like
it could be a prequel.
Yeah, like her life as a child or whatever. But
the other thing I thought was interesting was Dan Chase, Jeff Bridges' near murder at the hands of the son of someone who he murdered.
Yes.
When he was the ghost in the country. Yeah. As he was drugged, and how realistic it was that he could get at that shard of glass, and got him in a place he would bleed out, but also that all he had to do besides that was hold him in place.
Right.
So he couldn't escape. He had him in a lock. And I thought, wow, that is some good writing for a guy who's got this drug subdued. That's all he could handle.
Right.
One stabbing.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, but except if in fact if the hole in the plot that I've been harping on for now 2 episodes is in fact resolved by her being groomed by her mother as a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
If anybody ever finds out who you really are, your life will be in danger. Therefore, you need to be working in the place that is in charge of that kind of shit.
Right. Yep.
But I gotta wonder again, why isn't that clear? Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense, does it? Dan Chase wouldn't do it.
True. Yeah. He doesn't care.
Or do it with her for the same reason.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is a fine ending that might be a fine ending for the whole show.
It won't be, though.
Yeah, but unlike other season endings, I think this is conclusive enough that we can, like, so many good novels, end as, oh, and now the weak has become the leader, and scene, and you cut it off there. And, and you're just, as a reader, you're just left to imagine, oh, the future. So I think this is a better than last season ending for a full, like, to
How did last season end?
The last season ended where she arrived at this place in the car and saw the old man. Saw her
and
father.
The old man and Jeff, Harold and Dan Chase were walking away from the camera that they were going to in it together.
Yeah.
And Dan Chase reached up his left arm and put his arm on John Lithgow's shoulders.
Okay.
That was the final scene.
Okay.
Not her in the car. Or maybe that was the final scene with her.
I feel like it was her arriving at the village, but that's my memory.
And what country is that village in? Afghanistan.
Yes. So, I'm kind of worried about next week. Like, hopefully we're gonna have a talk next week, and maybe not. Maybe we will know or not the results.
Oh, we'll know some things.
Well, some things will be known. Yes,
unless if it's a landslide, which it could be, because we don't know.
In either fucking direction, which is scary.
I don't think so. No, there's no pattern showing it. It could be. Everything's possible. Nobody knows. All that's true. My gut, though, is the patterns are all moving in the right direction for Harris. And the power of the woman's vote is exceptional. And I will tell you something you'll find interesting in the entertainment desk is that the most popular men in America, popular and loved by men.
You mean us?
Other men. Is Samuel Jackson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Eminem, and a couple others, but those three and these others have all either campaigned with and or have endorsed Kamala Harris. And that vote of disaffected men, particularly men of color,
that's a great theory. Yeah.
Even though it's 76% Harris, that is compared to 86% Biden when he won. And so the erosion, which is a 26% increase, is very noteworthy when that number of votes can decide the election in the only state that one of the few states that matters, which is Pennsylvania. You know how many Puerto Ricans there are in Pennsylvania? It's like 17% of the voting. So
what the fuck are all
this
what
happened?
Did they all? Why? I thought it was all Pennsylvania Dutch.
Hey, hang on a sec. What's that? Bye. See you there. Halloween party.
Yeah, I thought they were all like Amish.
Who?
In Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. Can see you've been in and out of Philadelphia a lot.
No. Like, but yeah, like, okay, so let's workshop this. So if it goes landslide Kamala, then Trump will
not concede. He will claim he won, just like he did last year.
Right.
They will. It doesn't matter whether it's a landslide or not. In that count, they already have lawsuits prepared in some 46 states, so they're ready to go. They're much more prepared now than they've ever have been before. And now that Bannon's out of prison, which happened yesterday.
Yeah, great.
Steve Bannon was released. That means that the violent organizational development of the response is in full steam. He will claim that there will be riots. They will be quelled. There will be violence. The stuff that we're hearing and seeing now, which worries us, will come true in respect that we're worrying about two things. One, we're worrying about what if he wins, and then we're worrying about, well, what if he loses? So either way, it's trouble coming. Some of the close states, like Pennsylvania, in fact, will only allow counts to be made after the closing date of the election. Whereas in other states, they've been counting millions and millions of votes ahead of time, so they're ready the night of.
Duh.
But in some states, it is against the law.
That's so stupid. Stupid.
So that you don't know. If there's a landslide, Pennsylvania, which is the one I'm speaking of, won't matter. And she can be called and will be called. And he'll do two things. One, now this is an old playbook. One, there was fraud. Two, I really won. And then January 6th will be perpetrated at virtually every urban center. And he'll be able to talk about the Democratic mayors and governors who aren't doing anything. And it's a continuation. And
that's one scenario. If it's a close result, then either way we're kind of fucked. But if it's a landslide Trump, which is not improbable, like 15% or whatever, like that's another world. I don't know. I'm so scared.
Well, yeah. If it's close, it's the tension. For the first time in American history, a vast majority of people are either or both concerned and frustrated by the election.
Right.
They are stressed. In years past, that was a certain percentage. It's never been this high. Other years, there was this thing called excitement that polled well. That's not so much now.
Excitement.
Nobody's excited about it. I know I'm not. I am as apprehensive and stressed as any other American. We're actively talking about where would we move to Canada, and I'm like, I don't think I can live without my grandkids. I mean, I'm just, and so I hope I don't have to face that. But here's the thing: I'll still be wondering whether that's the case a fucking year from now. If this could all go all the way to the Supreme Court, remember Gore and Bush?
Yeah, I do.
And it ended up to the Supreme Court. An interesting fact is that the man who has predicted every presidential election accurately, based on these 8 major factors that it's a scorecard kind of thing. He's picked Harris.
Who is that?
I can't remember his name. Professor, one kind or another.
Cool.
And
Dr. Pepper.
that was the year that he picked the wrong president, which means that that the Supreme Court probably got it wrong.
Yeah, duh. We all knew that at the time. God
We
damn
didn't
it.
know that.
Ugh. So, yeah, man. So, hopefully, look, if we do this next week, the day after, information will be available, but not necessarily decided. So,
well, it'll be fascinating to say the least. I'm going fishing Tuesday. I went this past Tuesday and caught some fish. But I'll tell you a quick story about this.
Great.
Because I know you love these fishing stories. But I was leaving the river. There was this deep hole in the river where there was a bend, and it was a confluence of another river of the Pierre Marquette called the Baldwin River. So when 2 rivers come together, there's got to be current, and there's got to be deeper holes where the river is moving.
Duh.
I stood in a cliff above the deepest hole, and as I stood there watching, before I've seen fish come and go of the hole, darting in and out, some big ones. This time, I saw 2 brown trout that were about 6 pounds, 18, 20 inches, sitting in the gravel, laying in the gravel, with the water coming by and their gills moving, their mouth opening and closing, because all they do is they open their mouth, food and other matter go in their mouth, the stuff that isn't food goes out their gills, and the gills clean out stuff that's not food. Their mouths on the inside are white. That's how you know for sure it's a brown trout. This week, I'm going fishing for those fish, which means a change of gear, a change of attitude.
It's about time you change your attitude.
I'm all excited about it. This one goes out to the one I love.
Indeed.
This one goes out to the one I left behind. A simple prop to occupy my time. This one goes out to the one I love. Fire. This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. Another prop to occupy my time. This one. Oh shit.
Oh shit, we need to shut it down. Okay, that's it for episode number 233. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/233. There's not a lot there, but there they are. You can support the show at patreon.com/happyhour, and you can really, really, really support us by going out to fucking vote. Please, please, please vote Kamala. See you next week if we're still around.